Eugene reads Rotten Ralph by Jack Gantos. Illustrated by Nicole Rubel. Published by the Houghton Mifflin Company.
Hi, I'm Eugene Mirman. 8 Cousins, the bookstore in downtown Falmouth, Mass., asked me to read a children's book for you. They asked me to read Rotten Ralph, so I'm going to read that for you now. I hope I don't add swears. You can get a copy of this from them or your local bookstore. Ralph is Sarah's rotten cat, but Sarah loves him anyway. When Sarah practices ballet, Ralph makes fun of her. One afternoon when Sarah was swinging, Rotten Ralph sawed off the branch. The very next day, Ralph ruined Sarah's party. He had taken a bite out of every one of her cookies. Sometimes you are very hard to love, Ralph, Sarah said. One day, Sarah's father came home early from work. He caught Ralph sitting in his favorite chair. Ralph was wearing father's slippers and blowing soap bubbles through his best pipe. "You are worse than rotten, Ralph," said father. "I wish you wouldn't upset father," Sarah said. The next evening, Ralph smashed his bicycle into the dining room table. Father became very angry. "You better straighten up, Ralph," he said. "You are a very difficult cat, Ralph," Sarah said. After dinner, Ralph was still hungry. He chased Mother's favorite birds. She was very unhappy with Ralph's behavior. One evening, the whole family went to the circus. Everyone was having a great time but Ralph. A dog was barking in his ear. "Be quiet," said Ralph. But the dog didn't stop. He kept barking and stomping his paws on the seat. So Rotten Ralph tied some balloons to the dog's collar. The dog floated up over the lion's cage. "My dog!" shouted the owner. But not even the man on stilts could reach him. Then Ralph saw the trapeze. He swung and knocked over the tightrope walkers. Next, he jumped on a show horse. He pushed the rider off and frightened the elephants. "Rotten Ralph has gone too far this time," bellowed father. "We are leaving him here. A circus is just where he belongs." And they left him behind. When the circus closed that night, the manager made Ralph sweep up all the popcorn. Then he had to water the camels. After that, he had to carry the barbells for the strongman. The next day, Rotten Ralph did not want to work. He refused to be the target for the knife thrower, so the circus tough men threw him in a cage. "Everybody has to work around here, Buster," the tough guys said, and they locked the door. The monkeys laughed and threw banana peels at Ralph. The elephants shot peanut shells at him and squirted water on him. A week later, Ralph had grown very thin. He had only been fed stale popcorn and rotten candied apples. That night, he decided to escape. Nobody heard him as he slipped between the bars. Ralph ran from the circus and found a place to sleep in an alley. During the night, he was awakened by gangs of mean and noisy cats. The rest of the night, he hid in a trash heap. He didn't dare make a sound, even though mice were nibbling on his toes. In the morning, he was cold and sick. He had caught an alley fever from sleeping in the trash heap. "I'm lonely," he thought, and he began to cry. He was sitting on a trash can when Sarah found him. "Oh, Ralph, I still do love you," she said. She was so happy she hugged him and gave him a kiss on his cold nose. On the way home, she told him she had been looking for him everywhere. She asked him where he had been and what he had been doing. Even Sarah's mother and father were happy to see Ralph again. "We have missed you, Ralph," they said. Ralph kept thinking about his soft bed and warm milk. He also thought about how nice it was to have a good friend like Sarah. Ralph decided never to be rotten again, except for sometimes when Mother cooked lobsters for dinner. Well, get this book from 8 Cousins.
8 Cousins Bookshop is located in Falmouth, Massachusetts on Cape Cod. Thank you for supporting 8 Cousins.